New York, a gorgeous afternoon for football. This game being billed as the Game of the Century, Part 2, and I'm Andy Russell, and Jeff Swan joining me now. And Jeff, if this game lives up to the billing that the previous game did, it'll certainly be an exciting ball game.
Yes, Andy, the first game was incredible, going right down to the wire with Ithaca having a chance to win it on their last series and just couldn't pull it out. I look for the same type of game this afternoon. Ithaca's defense should rise to the occasion today, and it's going to be a tough ball game and go right down to the wire.
Cortland State 11-0, Ithaca 10-1. Now last weekend at Wagner College, the Bombers suffered a couple of injuries. The most notable one was the quarterback Tom Pasquale was injured, and there's a possibility that he will be able to play today. He suffered a sprained right shoulder, his throwing shoulder, and so his status a little bit in question. So freshman Todd Wilkowski, who has started 9 of the ball games for the Bombers, will get the call this afternoon. Now for Cortland State, their quarterback Rich Kiefer has completed over 55% of his passes and thrown for more than 2,000 yards. Cortland has probably the most balanced offensive attack in Division III. So we've certainly got an exciting ball game coming your way today on ICB TV. Now Cortland State has won the toss and they have elected to receive. There you see Matt Sullivan set to kick off for Ithaca. Sullivan, the freshman out of Miami, Florida. And Jeff, I'm surprised at the huge overflow crowd that has made its way to South Hill Field, even though both schools are on vacation. A lot of students are back early.
Yes, there's a lot of familiar faces around here from both Ithaca and Cortland. The Cortland side is packed with standing room only, along with the Ithaca side.
Fans still streaming into South Hill Field, and this ball game just about ready to get underway. The East Regional Final, Cortland State and Ithaca. Fans on their feet awaiting the kickoff. Matt Sullivan will kick off to Matt Shell and Mike Anderson. Shell number 3, Anderson number 32, about their own 10-yard line. Fans on their feet, and this ball game is underway. A short kick. It'll be taken by Shell at the 21. Straight ahead, and Shell gets out to about the 33-yard line, and that is where Cortland State will take over on offense. And taking a look at their offense, a very potent offensive attack. Cortland's offense averaging almost 30 points per game. They average 200 yards on the ground and 214 through the air.
Here the Ithaca Bomber defense will get a chance.
And there you see the Cortland Drag offensive line. Butler and Berm are good at the tackles. Lafferty and Tom Schmatt at guard, and James Cook is the center. We'll get to the rest of the offense after this play. 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. And Kiefer will drop back to pass. Kiefer looks across the middle. Ball in and out of the hands of tailback Eric Love. Incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10. Taking a look now at the offensive backs for Cortland State. We have, of course, the quarterback, Rich Kiefer, number 10. There you see Gareth Grayson, the fullback, number 21. He's rushed for almost 1,600 yards in the season. Eric Love, the tailback, the flanker. Dave Falco and Greg Sirico's the split end. Dave Kelly, the leading receiver at tight end. And Kelly on the year has caught 41 passes. 2nd down and 10, and we'll get to the Ithaca defense shortly. Mark Houghton now in the ball game goes in motion. Kiefer will give to Eric Love, right side, and not much doing there. Dan Feldman first to greet Love. A gain of maybe 1, and that's about all.
The Ithaca defense coming out fired up here in South Hill. 2 plays, and already the Bombers have come up with 2 big defensive plays.
Now the Bombers giving up just 3.5 yards per play, and they've given up just about a yard into play. So that'll bring up 3rd down and long, 3rd and about 9 from the 35-yard line. Falco comes to the near side, and it's Sirico to the far side. 3rd down and 10, and Kiefer back to pass once again. Plenty of time. Now Kiefer being pressured and sacked by Rich Smith.
There the Kiefer had a lot of time to pass. The Ithaca secondary coming up big with no one for Kiefer to throw it to, and gives Rich Smith time to get in there and make the sack.
Rich Smith, the senior out of Lansing, New York, his 9th sack on the season, a loss of about 9 yards on the play, and it's punting time. Jim Carey on the punt. Standing back to receive, it'll be Scott Van Dyke at his own 45-yard line. 10 men on the line of scrimmage for Ithaca. And now the snap is a good one, and Carey gets it away. It'll drive Van Dyke back to his own 41-yard line. A wall set up, and Van Dyke runs into his own man and then tackled at the 46-yard line. So credit Scott Van Dyke with a 5-yard return, just under his average of 6.5 yards per return, and Ithaca will take over.
Yeah, we saw there Van Dyke run into number 15, Tommy Knapp, trying to spring him on the play. Knapp tried to make a good block, and Van Dyke just ran right into him.
We'll take a look at the Ithaca offense shortly. It's 1st down and 10 for the Bombers. Excellent field position near midfield at the 47. Quarterback is Todd Wilkowski, number 1, Mike Scott and Paul Parker in the backfield. Mike Scott straight ahead, and Scott plows to about midfield, a gain of about 3. Blaine Morehouse, number 96, the sophomore nose guard out of Watkins Glen, New York, makes the tackle. And now taking a look at the Bomber offense. Up front, it's a big Bomber offensive line. Well, there you see the backfield first. Todd Wilkowski, Paul Parker, and Mike Scott, Van Dyke and Barker, the receivers, and Kevin McCaffrey, the tight end. Gain of about 3. It's 2nd and 7. Van Dyke to the near side, Barker to the far side. Option left, Mike Scott. Scott is to the outside and close to a 1st down as Mike Scott gets about 8 yards before being tackled by Dave Mancuso, number 49, the strong safety who's 4th on the team in tackles.
Paul Parker came up with a key block to spring Smith on that one, or Scott, I'm sorry. Parker came out, cut down the end, and allowed Scott to get to the outside.
A nice block by Paul Parker, the junior out of Syracuse, New York. And taking a look at the Bomber offensive line, a big offensive line. Tim Rice and Evan Marcus are the tackles. Tom Finneran and Pete Burns, the guards. And Mark Hudak, the senior center from Orchard Park, a Pizza Hut All-American a year ago and looking for equal status this year. It is a 1st down for the Bombers after they measure. So at the 43-yard line in Cortland territory. Scott Barker, the receiver, comes to the near side. Van Dyke to the far side. Mike Scott, his 3rd straight carry, and Mike Scott plows forward for about 6 or 7 yards on the right side. Making the tackle, 72, Chris Voss, the sophomore out of Hartsdale, New York. And if you look at the Cortland defense, only 2 seniors in the lineup. Both of them are in the secondary. So Cortland State, an outstanding defense. They're going to have most of those people back next year.
Yeah, and Ithaca comes right out and tries to establish the run, giving the ball to Mike Scott 3 times right in a row. Scott picking up good yardage.
As I mentioned in the pregame, Mike Scott, the first meeting, only touched the ball 11 times. Already has touched the ball 3 times. 2 wide receivers to the near side. Ken Hamill is in the slot. Option once again, and this is Mike Scott. Another cut back inside, and Mike Scott down to the 26-yard line. And Paul Parker, once again, the key block to spring Mike Scott.
Yes, excellent block by Parker. And once again, the 4th time Mike Scott touches the ball, and he's already got over 23 yards.
Mike Scott down to the 27-yard line. It's been 4 Mike Scott carries. The Ithaca offense has been very predictable so far, but hard to stop. 1st down and 10. Wilkowski, a long count. Now Paul Parker will have his first carry of the afternoon, and he tries the left side behind big number 78, Evan Marcus, and gets about 3 or 4 yards. Tackle once again made by Blaine Morehouse with some help from Steve Woodard on the Cortland defense. And taking a look at the Cortland defense, the defensive, there you see the linebacker, Steve Woodard and Bob Keith. Keith, the leading tackler. Jim Taylor and Rick Stouse also man the inside. And the secondary, McGowan and Grady, or McGowan and Barrett, the corners. Mancuso, the strong safety, and Joe Grady, their second leading tackler, is the free safety. 2nd down and 6. Wilkowski back to Mike Scott once again, and Mike Scott is to the outside. Mike Scott will go into the end zone. Touchdown, Ithaca. Mike Scott, a 22-yard touchdown run, and Ithaca leads 6-0.
And once again, we can't say enough about Paul Parker's blocking on that play. He allows Scott to get around the corner and just go into the end zone almost untouched.
Matt Sullivan on to try the extra point, and Sullivan on the year, 37 out of 39 in the PAT department. Good place down, and the kick is up, and it is through. So with 10:42 to go, first quarter, Ithaca strikes first. A 22-yard touchdown run from Mike Scott. And the Cortland defense coming into today's play, Jeff, they were giving up just over 11 points per game, and they had only allowed 106 yards per game on the ground. And Ithaca already takes it right to them, going exclusively on the ground for that 53-yard drive.
I think this is the Bombers' offensive line just coming out and saying, hey, we're going to take it right to these guys and establish the ground game and push it right in the end zone, and that's what they did. There you see Mike Scott. 5 rushes, 49 yards here with 10:42 left to go in the first quarter and a touchdown. He's going to have a big day today, Mike Scott.
The senior out of Rochester, New York. And for Mike Scott on the year, that is his 8th rushing touchdown. And overall, his 11th touchdown on the season. So Matt Sullivan set to kick it off for the second time in the afternoon. And here we go once again. Matt Shell and Mike Anderson set deep to return, and this is Mike Anderson from the 15. Anderson cuts it up to about the 30-yard line, a return of about 14 yards. Down there, Jason Cole along with Charles Calloway and Tom Knapp to make the tackle defensively.
Tom Knapp really made a nice play on that. Fought off a blocker and was in there to make the initial hit.
We haven't had a chance to look at the Ithaca defense yet, and we will do so momentarily. A defense giving up less than 10 points per game. Dave Falco will trot to the near side and first down and 10 from the 29-yard line. Kiefer back to pass. Plenty of time. Now the pressure from Craig Belcher, and Belcher comes up with a sack on Kiefer, and that's the second time that Kiefer's been dropped for a loss.
And this is the second time that Kiefer's had all day back there to throw, in the Ithaca secondary coming up big, having no receivers to throw to. So Kiefer has to take the sack, and a nice play by Rich Belcher.
A loss of 12 yards on the play. Ralph Jones, Rich Smith, and Craig Belcher, the front three for Ithaca. The linebackers will see in a moment. Second down and 22 from the 17-yard line. 2 wide receivers to the near side. Kiefer will give to Eric Love, and Love straight ahead for about 3 or 4 before the hole is closed down by John Howard and Dagan Gray. The Ithaca linebackers are a good aggressive bunch. And taking a look at the Ithaca linebackers, we've got John Howard and Dan Feldman along the outside, Matt Herbst and Dagan Gray on the inside. And the secondary, we have on the corners Craig Penson and Tom Knapp, Lee Byrne, the free safety, and Sean Greeley, the strong safety. Third down and 18-yard line, or 18 yards, call it, from the 21. Falco, the receiver to the near side, as Kiefer drops, looks across the middle, incomplete. Intended for Eric Love out of the backfield. So that'll bring up the second punting opportunity for Jim Carey.
Once again, when Kiefer backed to pass, he had a lot of time, but his deep receivers were covered, had to go underneath, and the ball just barely overthrown.
So Cortland hasn't done too much offensively, but if you remember the first meeting between the two teams, the Bombers jumped out to a quick 7-0 lead, and Cortland came right back. This is a team that's 11-0, and they've faced plenty of adversity this year. The rush is on for Carey, but he gets it away. A nice high kick. Van Dyke will not fair catch it, though, and take it from his 43, and Van Dyke spins across midfield down to the 48-yard line in Cortland territory. So once again, Ithaca with great field position.
Yeah, nice 39-yard punt there. Van Dyke took it and headed upfield, had blockers in front of him, but a nice tackle made there to bring him down at about the 48-yard line.
Now, one of the things that has played a key role in the Bombers' success this year has been the play of the special teams and the punt returning team. They always seem to have the ball around midfield after an opposing team punts. Last game against Cortland, though, the Bombers did not have very good field position. Volkowski, handoff straight ahead, and that's Doug Albertsman, who now checks into the ball game for Ithaca, and a straight ahead carry to about the 45-yard line.
Yeah, I can see Mike Scott down on the Ithaca bench getting his ankle wrapped. He might have twisted his ankle on that touchdown run. He's getting it wrapped, and hopefully he'll be back in the ball game. That could be a big loss for the Ithaca Bombers.
Mike Scott lacing up his shoes, and so he'll be ready to go in a couple of minutes, hopefully. Option left side, Albertsman and Parker, another good block, and Albertsman cuts it up. Only 2 yards, though. A nice play made by number 97, Stan Patch, from his outside linebacker spot to close the hole quickly for Cortland State.
And right there is the difference between Doug Albertsman and Mike Scott. Albertsman had a hole out there, just not as quick as Scott to hit it that fast. Still gained 2 yards on a nice run.
3rd down and 6 for Ithaca, maybe their first passing situation of the afternoon. Scott Barker in the slot, and Scott Van Dyke split to the far side. Pass underneath to Doug Albertsman, and Albertsman has a first down and finally tackled by Steve McGowan as he gets to about the 33-yard line, but a nice pickup for Ithaca. A gain of 11 yards, first down, Bombers.
Yes, that was a nice pass from Todd Wilkowski to Albertsman, who made a nice catch. He was wide open on the play.
Albertsman, the senior from nearby Trumansburg, has a first down for Ithaca, and he remains in the ball game as Mike Scott still being attended to on the Bomber sideline. Dwayne Siebold now in the ball game, split to the near side on 1st and 10. Option left side, Wilkowski will keep it, and he's tripped up. Not much doing there for Todd Wilkowski, a gain of only a couple. Making the tackle that time, number 93, Joe Amico for Cortland State.
And here we see Mike Scott coming back into the ball game. Doug Albertsman filling in with a nice job, but here's Scott, the man that Ithaca really wants into the game right now.
2nd down and 9 after a gain of only 1 by Wilkowski. Wide receivers both split to the far side. Option right, Paul Parker this time, and Parker to the outside, but knocked out of bounds by Bob Keith down to the 27-yard line, and a gain of about 5 yards.
There we see Scott blocking for Parker on that one. Scott, not as big as Parker, unable to get as good a block, but still did his job, allowing Parker to get to the outside.
6:50 to go, first quarter, and all year long the first quarter has been the big scoring quarter for Ithaca. They've scored 113 points in the first quarter, by far and away their highest scoring total in any quarter this year. Option left side this time, and Mike Scott will cut it back inside, but not much doing there. Maybe a gain of 1. Stan Patch over there, along with Bob Keith and Joe Grady up from his free safety spot. And that'll bring up 4th down and about 4.
Excellent play by the Cortland defense. They read that play coming and really stacked it up nice.
So it's 4th down and about 3-4 yards to go, and Matt Sullivan, the freshman from Miami, Florida, will come on to try what will be a 44-yard field goal. Scott Barker will hold at the 34. Sullivan has nailed a 50-yard school record field goal early in the year. The place down is good. The kick is up. Will it have the distance? And the kick is good. Matt Sullivan, 44 yards, and the Bombers now lead 10-0.
Excellent kick there by Sullivan. The snap was good, the hold was good, and Sullivan just had the distance to get it over the crossbar, and that's all that counts.
Matt Sullivan now on the year from field goal range is 9 out of 16. And his second longest field goal of the year gives Ithaca a 10-0 lead.
Ithaca now jumping out 10-0 in their first meeting this year. As we all know, Paul Parker ran in for a touchdown on the very first play of the game, and Ithaca didn't do much after that in the first half. Now we see them scoring on their first 2 possessions. That's got to be a good sign for the Bombers offense.
Cortland State wants respect, and if they come back now, I'm sure they will get it. They're in a hole, though, 10-0, but plenty of time left in this ball game. Sullivan yet set to kick off for his 3rd time this afternoon. And this kick will be taken by Matt Shell at his own 10-yard line. Shell straight ahead and knocked down at the 24-yard line. A return of about 14 yards, and Doug Albertsman down there along with Chris Ciccarelli and Jason Cole.
Excellent coverage by the Bombers kickoff team. As it's been all year, Andy, the Bombers kickoff team has been excellent, allowing like about 20 yards return. Nothing big all year. It's been excellent.
Excuse me, that was Todd Oakley and not Chris Ciccarelli. So it's 1st and 10 for Cortland at their own 23-yard line. Gareth Grayson, the fullback, has rushed for almost 1,600 yards on the year, has not carried the ball yet. And this is Grayson's first carry, and he's into the secondary, a gain of almost 10. Riding the block behind big number 76, Charles Butler, and it's ahead for a pickup of about 9 yards. And a nice run that time by Gareth Grayson.
That was Grayson's first carry of the afternoon, and I look for Cortland to come out and establish the run in this possession.
Mark Houghton, the receiver, to the near side. And Greg Sirico to the top of your screen. And Grayson, his second consecutive carry, has a first down and more. Finally dragged down by Lee Byrne at the Cortland 45-yard line. But it's a pickup of 13 yards for Grayson and a Cortland first down, their first of the afternoon. But we have an injury for Cortland. And let's see who that is being attended to. I believe that's the right guard, Tom Schmatt, number 68. Oh, it's not Schmatt. I see Schmatt, and it is number 64. That's the center, James Cook. And that may provide some problems for Cortland State.
Yes, a new center coming into the ball game. Kiefer won't be as familiar with him on the snaps and could cause a fumble on the exchange here.
We'll try to find out who the new center is as soon as we can. It is number 61, but we do not have a number 61 listed on our roster, so we'll get that checked out as soon as we can. 1st and 10, Cortland State. Grayson to the outside, and Grayson has running room, finally knocked out of bounds after another first down pickup, a gain of 14 yards, and he's finally knocked down in the secondary by Doug Mahar. And Doug Mahar is not played too much this year for Ithaca, but he has continued to improve as the year has progressed.
Once again, that's Grayson's third carry on this drive. He already has 36 yards, so they're grinding it out on the ground now.
1st down and 10 for Cortland State as the Red Dragons coming right back at Ithaca. Pitch back, Eric Love cuts it back, nailed at the line of scrimmage and gets forward for a gain of about 2. Dagan Gray with the initial hit, the senior out of East Pepperell, Massachusetts, and it's a gain of only 1 for Eric Love.
Dagan Gray comes through there with a head of steam and nails Love there. He spins out of the tackle and gets ahead for about 2 yards, but excellent play by Dagan Gray.
Gain of 2, it's 2nd down and 8. The wide receiver to the near side, Dave Falco, the all-time leading receiver in Cortland Red Dragon history. Kiefer nearly stumbles as he rolls out. Now looks, ball intercepted by Dan Feldman at the 32, and Feldman returns it to the 33-yard line. And the Ithaca defense comes up with a big play, and for Dan Feldman, his 3rd interception of the year.
That's just a poor pass by Kiefer. Feldman was right there, no Cortland receiver in the area. He threw it right to Feldman.
Dan Feldman read the eyes of quarterback Rich Kiefer. The Bombers picked off Kiefer 3 times in the first encounter, but Kiefer continually made the big play. Here Feldman comes up with a big play for Ithaca, and it's 1st down at the Bomber 36-yard line. Leading 10-0, 4:23 to go first quarter. Albertsman carries straight ahead, penalty on the play. Albertsman picks up about 7 yards right side before being tackled by Dave Mancuso.
The flag indicates holding against the Bombers, which will negate about a 7-yard run by Albertsman. A nice run by him, but Bombers caught for holding.
The referee talking things over with Joe Woodard, and we await the call.
Holding offense.
So the Bombers will be marched backwards 10 yards and face a 1st down and 20. The referees for today's game, Jack Kramer, who just made the call. Eugene Ferris is the umpire. The headlinesman, Michael Corcoran, line judge William Stewart, field judge Ralph Palma, the back judge Robert Phillips, and the clock operator is Pat Courtney. Again, flags all over the field. It was in the 25-second clock, but apparently movement against Ithaca. Illegal procedure, 5-yard penalty.
Illegal procedure, offensive line.
Still winded up.
So that's the second consecutive penalty for the Bombers, taking them back 15 yards, where it'll be first down and 25 yards for the Bombers.
Bombers now penalized 81 times on the year, about 7 per ball game. First and 25, Wilkowski to the air, looks for Van Dyke, and Van Dyke has it. Knocked out of bounds by Dave Dercola along the far sideline. A pickup of about 8 yards on the play. And for Scott Van Dyke, on the year, that is catch number 12. Last week, Van Dyke had 4 catches for the Bombers, and a big performance, his best of the season.
Nice play just to get back some of the penalty yardage there. Nice safe pass by Wilkowski and a nice catch and completion.
Second down and 16 upcoming. Wilkowski, a long count. Now we'll look to the air. Swings it out to Albertsman underneath, and Albertsman breaks to the outside. And now Albertsman still in bounds, finally knocked out of bounds at the 48-yard line. A penalty, though, on Scott Van Dyke upcoming. He's going to be called for clipping. And Van Dyke not happy with that call at all.
Van Dyke trying to spring Albertsman to the outside. Van Dyke is claiming the Cortland player turned around as he's going to hit him, but the ref is having no part of that.
Albertsman trying to follow the block behind Scott Van Dyke, and the referee's sorting things out, and I guess they're trying to decide where the infraction will be marked from. They're going to mark it from the 42-yard line in Ithaca territory, and they'll march backwards.
Clipping, offense.
A big 15-yard penalty against Ithaca all the way back to the 27-yard line. So the Bombers, their 3rd penalty of this drive. And second down and 19 upcoming.
That's really a shame, because Van Dyke downfield trying to spring his back out of the backfield and just gets called for a penalty.
Bombers going exclusively to the running backs out of the backfield. Second down and 19. Ken Hamill and Scott Van Dyke split to the far side. Wilkowski to the air, and he's looking for Ken Hamill just off his outstretched fingertips at the 40-yard line. Dave Mancuso on the coverage for Cortland State, and that'll bring up 3rd down and long.
Yes, it's 3rd and forever for Ithaca. It's about 20 yards, and Wilkowski going with the safe passes now will have to go for a bundle here.
3rd down and 19. The line of scrimmage is the 27, and Ithaca needs to get out to the 46-yard line. Another passing situation for quarterback Todd Wilkowski, the freshman out of Depew, New York. 3:44 showing on the first quarter clock. 10-0 Ithaca. Kevin McCaffrey now split wide to the near side. The rush is on, and Wilkowski looking long, and now the pressure gets to him as he's sacked by Joe Woodard along with Chris Voss and Dave Mancuso. The trio for Cortland State. Wilkowski actually got back to almost the line of scrimmage at the 27-yard line. Cortland State's first sack of the game, and now John Fitzgerald drops back to punt, and Dave Falco will set up at his own 37-yard line to return. Snap is a good one. The rush is on, though, and it's a low line drive kick. It'll take an Ithaca bounce, though, inside the 30. And it finally rolls dead at the 27-yard line. So a good kick by John Fitzgerald, as he certainly benefited from the roll.
Yes, started out, it didn't look like it was going to be that good of a kick, but with the roll, Cortland guy didn't come up to catch the ball and make a fair catch, so the roll took it inside the 30. Poor judgment by Cortland on that one. There we see Mike Scott on the bench. Apparently an injury to his foot. Doesn't look like he'll be back in the game soon.
We thought it was just retaping. We'll have to check on that as Cortland State. Gareth Grayson will break to the outside, and Grayson knocked out of bounds by Lee Byrne and Dan Feldman, but a pickup of 8 yards on first down. In Cortland State, since they've gone to Gareth Grayson, their offense has been much more effective.
Yeah, Grayson starts carrying the balls, getting 5, 6, 7 yards a crack at him. The Bomber defense going to have to do something to stop him today.
Second down and 2. James Cook, the center, still not back for Cortland State as he's along the far sideline. Kiefer, a long count. Now we'll give straight ahead to Grayson. But an illegal procedure called against Cortland State just as they got the snap off. So that'll move Cortland State from a 2nd and 2 to a 2nd and 7 situation.
Here we see both teams being flagged for penalties on their possessions.
Procedure, offense.
So now it'll be 2nd down and 7 as Dave Falco brings the next play in. Greg Sirico also checks into the ball game for Cortland State. 3:09 to go first quarter. It's Ithaca 10 and Cortland State nothing. The East Regional Final from South Hill Field in Ithaca. Kiefer surveys the situation, and now a quick drop and a slanting pattern to Dave Falco. And Falco catches it just shy of the 35-yard line, but a good pickup by Cortland State. And that's something they did a lot in the first meeting. Quick slanting patterns to their wide receivers.
Yes, that's a nice safe pass by Kiefer. His first completion of the day for only 4 yards, but it brings up a 3rd and 2.
So it's 3rd down and short for Cortland State. Mark Houghton will trot to the near side. Jeff Roberto, number 4, to the top of the screen. And Nick Amodio in the backfield along with Gareth Grayson. They're 2 big backs on 3rd and short. Kiefer to Grayson, and Grayson will not get back to the line of scrimmage. Dagan Gray wraps him up just about the 35-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th and 2 and a punting situation for Cortland.
Excellent play by Deegan Gray there. Excellent penetration by the Bomber front 4, and Gray comes up and makes a tackle.
Play started inside and then went outside and went nowhere. Scott Van Dyke set to return at his own 35, awaiting the Jim Carey kick. Carey, a good effort as this will take Van Dyke back to his own 26-yard line. Van Dyke straight ahead and plunged to the turf of the 35-yard line. Gareth Grayson down there to make the tackle with some help from number 40, Matt Leon, from his linebacking spot.
A 38-yard punt there by Carey. His punts have been excellent all day. Nice hang time and good length.
So Ithaca from their 35-yard line with 1:43 to go first quarter. Ithaca commits yet another penalty. Pete Burns, the right offensive guard, jumped off sides. And that for Ithaca will be penalty number 4. And Ithaca's been penalized 4 times for 35 yards in the early going.
That's just lack of concentration.
Illegal procedure, offense.
Not knowing the snap count or forgetting the snap count, and that's going to hurt the Bombers. They can't continue to do this throughout the day.
Ithaca has been penalized much more than their opponents on the year. Wilkowski will run the option and now cut it back inside. Breaking tackles, and Todd Wilkowski out to the 43-yard line. A gain of 13 yards for the Bomber freshman quarterback.
Wilkowski just bouncing off would-be tacklers and gaining about 13 yards. Excellent run by Todd Wilkowski.
Wilkowski on the year has run now for over 300 yards, averaging 4.3 yards per carry. And he's got 7 rushing touchdowns to go along with his 8 passing touchdowns. 2nd down and 3. Wilkowski will give to Parker, left side, and first down, but another flag on the play. Thrown by the linesman, and that's usually in the area of offsides. And it is offsides against the Red Dragons, so the Bombers will benefit from a first down either via the run or the penalty. It depends on how much yardage they want to take, and I believe they'll take the penalty.
They're just trying to...
Offside, defense, decline, first down.
Well, maybe not. Ithaca first down on the rush by Ball Parker. clock continues to move. First quarter now inside of a minute.
Here we see again Albertsman in the game. Mike Scott doesn't look like he'll be returning anytime soon.
Pat McLaughlin also will check into the lineup for his first appearance on the afternoon. It's McLaughlin and Albertsman in the backfield. Ken Hamill, the receiver, to the near side. Bukowski looks for Ken Hamill. The pass is behind him. Good coverage on the play, though, by Steve McGowan, the sophomore out of Rochester, New York.
He had Hamill open on the quick slant. Wilkowski's pass was slightly behind Hamill, so unable to catch. But if Wilkowski had hit Hamill on that play, that might have gone big because no safety was in the area.
Good play call by the Bomber Brain Trust. And for McGowan, his 9th pass breakup of the year at 2nd and 10. Albertsman and McLaughlin set up behind Todd Wilkowski. Now option, Pat McLaughlin into the clear, and McLaughlin plows ahead close to a first down. Tackle made by Joe Grady, the free safety from Miller Place, New York, and the second leading tackler for the Red Dragons.
It looks from here as though the Bombers have the first down, but they'll call for a measurement. Nice run there by Pat McLaughlin.
Bombers on the sideline say they have a first down, but the officials will bring out the chains to measure. This is the second meeting of the year between these two teams, and they know each other very well. Cortland won the first game 21-20 in a very exciting game that provided 5 lead changes in Cortland, and it's a first down for Ithaca. As we mentioned, the two teams know each other very well. A couple assistant coaches for Cortland are former Ithaca ball players or coaches. Doug Langley is the linebacker coach at Cortland State. Last year he was the safety for Ithaca. And Cortland State also with Dave Murray, another assistant coach and a former IC grad, as Paul Parker gets good yardage along the left side on first down. Joe Grady once again in on the stop. Had some help that time from number 36, Sean Trepetta, a reserve linebacker.
Nice hole opened up by the Ithaca offensive line, allowing Parker to just stumble through for about 4 yards. The end of the first quarter.
So 15 minutes are in the book. It's the game of the century, part 2, and Ithaca has won the first chapter in this storied book from South Hill Field. It's 10-0 Ithaca as Bombers football comes your way on ICB TV. Welcome back to South Hill Field. It's quarter number 2 from Ithaca, New York. Andy Brussel and Jeff Swan along with you on a gorgeous afternoon for football. McLaughlin on the option. McLaughlin, a first down and more as Pat McLaughlin inside the 20-yard line. And what a run from the senior from Ozone Park, New York.
Excellent play by the Bombers there. The pitch to McLaughlin after Wilkowski takes the hit from the defensive end. Parker gets a good block and springs McLaughlin.
Gain of 21 yards and a first down pickup for Ithaca. And for Pat McLaughlin, that ties his longest run of the season. 21 yards down to the 17, and it's a first down for Ithaca. Threatening to score early in the second quarter. Parker right side, and Parker a big hole, and Parker plows inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line. Joe Grady, Dave Mancuso, and Sean Trepetta finally make the stop for Cortland State. But another pickup close to 10 yards, and the officials will call time for measurement.
The Ithaca offensive line just blowing Cortland State off the ball, opening up huge holes for the running backs to run through.
Bomber running game averages over 318 yards per game on the ground. And the official measurement looks like it's going to be just shy. There you see the, oh, now they start the chains out. About a yard or maybe half a yard to go.
This leaves it wide open for the Bombers. They could go into the end zone, do almost anything they want here with 2nd and inches.
Hey, the first time these two teams played in Cortland, a crowd in excess of 7,000 on hand. And today's crowd, I'm sure, very close, if not larger than that crowd 3 weeks ago on November 5th in Cortland, New York. Ken Hamill to the near side for Ithaca. First down, and Wilkowski or second down, make that. Wilkowski dives ahead for what appears to be a first down. The ball may have come loose, but the officials below it dead. Greg Barrup says he had the ball.
Looked like a broken play there. Wilkowski just did the best he could, kept the ball and lunged forward.
So it will be a first down for Ithaca. First and goal from just outside the 5-yard line. You're wondering about Mike Scott. He's still not back in the lineup. Sitting along the bench, having his left ankle retaped. Parker will try right side, and Parker plows down to about the 3-yard line before he's pushed backwards. Paul Parker, the strong inside runner. The junior transfer from the Naval Academy, tackled that time by Stan Patch, with some help from Joe Woodard. Second down and goal, the ball at the 4-yard line.
The yardage comes tough in here for the running game. Inside the 10-yard line, it's a lot tougher to run the ball than between the 20s.
Portland State's defense giving up just over 11 points per contest. Being threatened once again. Wilkowski pitches back to Albertsman. Albertsman to the outside, and Albertsman tackled shy of the goal line at the 1-yard line. Sean Trapetta with a good inside-out pursuit makes the tackle and saves the touchdown, and it looked at first like Doug Albertsman would get into the end zone.
A nice play by the Cortland cornerback there. Albertsman had a lot of green in front of him, came up and made a nice open field tackle.
East-west running along the goal line isn't easy, as Albertsman found out that time. Third and goal just inside the 2-yard line. Ithaca 10, Cortland State nothing, with inside of 13 minutes to go, first half. McLaughlin and Parker are the setbacks. Now they shift to the eye. Wilkowski will give to Parker, and they run into each other, and then Parker is stopped shy of the goal line. A mix-up in the exchange.
This is where Ithaca really misses Mike Scott, him and his leaping ability going over the top.
I think that's what they were trying to do that time with Paul Parker. Fans chanting go as Scott Van Dyke will bring the play in, and Ithaca will go.
Fans really showing their support here for Coach Butterfield's decision.
Fans on their feet. It's fourth and goal from the 2-yard line. Van Dyke to the near side, Barker to the far side. Wilkowski will run the option, and a penalty flag's thrown, and the officials blow this play dead. Yeah, let's see what they call. Illegal procedure against Ithaca. And that will certainly change Coach Butterfield's mind on what to do on fourth down, and he'll send in Matt Sullivan to go for the 3 instead of the 6.
Dead ball foul. Procedure. Blue.
Costly penalty there for the Bombers. The Bombers will have to settle for a Matt Sullivan field goal.
There's a look at the huge crowd on hand today to watch this game of the century, part 2. Matt Sullivan on to try a 25-yard field goal. The kick is up, and it is good. So the Bombers come away with 3 points on the drive, and they now lead 13-0, 11:38 to go, first half.
Nice drive by the Bombers, grinding it out both on the ground and through the air with Todd Wilkowski. Good mix of plays, and ends up in a field goal by Matt Sullivan. Nice drive.
So Ithaca able to mix it up offensively. And there you see Matt Sullivan trotting on to kick off for the 4th time this afternoon. And I think Cortland State and head coach Dennis Kaiser has to be a little bit shocked early. Cortland has never trailed by this many points in a ball game this year.
Yeah, although the Bombers have dominated so far in this game, they're only down 13-0. That's only 2 touchdowns for Cortland, which can put points on the board quick.
Cortland State last week was tied in the 3rd quarter with Hofstra at 13-all, and then Cortland State exploded and had a lead of 32-20 before Hofstra came back with a late touchdown with 9 seconds to go in the ball game, so they can really strike in a hurry. Mike Anderson and Matt Schell standing at their own 7-yard line awaiting the kickoff. A good kick by Sullivan. This will be Anderson from the 6-yard line. He loses the handle, then will pick it up. Anderson just shy of the 20-yard line. A return of about 15 yards. And a tackle made by Joe Williams, and also down there for Ithaca, it's number 47, John Lecce.
An interesting development on the Bombers kickoff team with Mike Scott being out of the game and Doug Albertsman having to come in. They've taken Albertsman off the kickoff team, and he is very prominent there and making a lot of tackles. That could hurt.
So Cortland State, 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Grayson the lone setback with Eric Love in the slot. Kiefer loses the handle, but then will pick it up. But the officials say his knee went to the turf, and they'll blow the play dead at about the 20-yard line. And that's what the loss of the center, James Cook, does to Cortland State. As there you see Mike Scott walking on the Ithaca sideline, and apparently his leg will be okay. His left ankle was retaped and also iced. So it appears Mike Scott ready to return. No gain on the play for Kiefer. It's 2nd and 10. Jeff Roberto, wide receiver to the near side. Mark Houghton to the far side. Draw play to Gareth Grayson, and Grayson tackled by Matt Herbst and Dagan Gray after a gain of about 3 or 4 yards along the left side. And Dagan Gray in pain for Ithaca down on the field. Now he gets up, but it appears that his right knee is really bothering him.
Favoring that right knee heavily as the trainers come out to assist him off the field.
And that would be a big loss for Ithaca. Dagan Gray, the 3rd leading tackler, the senior out of East Pepperell, Massachusetts, being helped off the field.
Getting a nice hand from the Bomber faithful.
Todd Oakley will come on to replace Dagan Gray. Oakley, number 45. It's 3rd down and about 6 for Cortland. Falco in motion. Back to pass. Pressure being applied to Kiefer, who rolls out and has Greg Rico for a 1st down across the 30-yard line to about the 33. A gain of about 7 yards, and 1st down, Cortland State. A nice play by Kiefer that time as he bought more time by rolling out, and that's something he did very effectively in the first meeting between the two teams. He kept rolling out and frustrating the defensive lineman for Ithaca all day long. Roberto to the near side, Houghton to the far side. 1st down and 10, back to the ground, and Gareth Grayson straight ahead, and Grayson plows forward for about 5. Ralph Jones makes the tackle, the sophomore out of Whitesboro, New York.
Grayson, 7 rushes for 54 yards already today. And let's look for Cortland to keep it on the ground and try to get something established here.
Cortland with a well-balanced offensive attack. Split about 50-50. On the ground, they average 200 yards per game, and through the air, 214. 2nd down and about 4. This will be Eric Love, the tailback, right side. 1st down and more. Knocked out of bounds by Lee Byrne at midfield, but a nice gain that time of about 11 yards for Eric Love in his longest run of the afternoon.
A nice play by Cortland, what we used to call the old student body right there. Everybody out in front of him just blocking away.
Gain of 11, 1st down, Cortland State. Roberto to the near side and Houghton again to the far side. Love will line up in the slot with Grayson the lone setback. Grayson straight ahead. Ralph Jones there to greet him for a loss of 1. Also some help from Rich Smith, the senior nose guard out of nearby Lansing.
Ralph Jones beat his man to the inside and ran right into Grayson for a loss of 1 on the play. Nice play by Ralph Jones.
Ralph Jones, who has seen continued improvement from the year, or during the year, I should say. And so far for the Bombers this year, Ralph Jones on the year has 7 sacks and has caused 4 fumbles and recovered 4 fumbles. Now Mark Houghton in motion, or Dave Falco, excuse me, is pressure on Rich Kiefer. Kiefer sacked by Matt Herbst and Dan Feldman. Craig Belcher also in there to put the clamps on Rich Kiefer, and it's a loss of about 12 yards.
Nice play by the Ithaca defensive line. They're blitzing 2 guys, sending 6 guys in there. Just too many people for the Cortland offensive line to block.
For the Bombers, their 3rd sack on the afternoon. Coming into today's game, they had 41 sacks, now make it 44. It's 3rd down and 23. Kiefer will keep the ball on the ground, and not much doing there.
That didn't fool anyone. The line and linebackers looked like they were ready for that draw and stuffed it up nicely.
A hand given to the defense as they rise to the occasion. Fourth down and call it 20 yards to go. Jim Carey on the punt, and Scott Van Dyke will drop to his own 30-yard line. Jim Carey punts into the sun, and Van Dyke once again has to make an over-the-shoulder grab at the 15. Van Dyke to the wide side of the field and puts his head under and is tackled at the 17. Sean Trapetta, the first one down there, along with Dave Kelly to make the stop for the Red Dragons.
Another nice pump by Carey. 45 yards on that one, and excellent coverage too. Van Dyke only allowing to bring it back 3 yards.
So Ithaca, not benefiting from good field position on this drive, will start deep in their own territory, leading 13-0 with 7:16 to go in the first half. Wilkowski will give to Paul Parker on the counter play. And Parker out near the 20-yard line, a pickup of only about 2 on the play. Rick Stouse will make the tackle for Cortland, the junior linebacker out of Syracuse.
A nice misdirection play by the Bombers there, using Mike Scott now back into the game as a decoy.
Mike Scott, his first action since his touchdown run early in the first quarter. 2nd down and 8. Wilkowski, quick drop, pass to Van Dyke, and Van Dyke has it, and across the 30-yard line for a first down pickup. And Van Dyke, his 2nd catch of the afternoon.
A nice easy pass, quick pass by Wilkowski, very safe too. Van Dyke makes a nice catch and a good run afterwards.
12 yards on the pickup. 1st and 10 Ithaca, just outside the 30-yard line. Now Dwayne Siebold checks into the ball game to the near side. Ken Hamill to the far side. Mike Scott, his first carry, and not much doing there. Dave Mancuso up from his strong safety spot to make the tackle. And a loss of 1 for Mike Scott, his first carry since returning from his injury.
There was nice penetration by the Cortland State defensive line on that, and nowhere for Scott to run.
Unofficially, Mike Scott, 7 carries for 49 yards. Averaging 7 yards per carry, just under his seasonal average of 7.5 yards per carry. Now Hamill to the near side, Van Dyke to the far side. 2nd down and 11. Wilkowski, play action pass. Wilkowski looking across the middle for Van Dyke, and a nice breakup on the play by Greg Barrup, the cornerback, who was stride for stride with Scott Van Dyke.
Yes, Barrup made a nice play on that. Wilkowski, all kinds of time to throw. Had Siebold open, but a nice play by Barrup.
Barrup, one of the 2 seniors on the Cortland State defensive 11. And that time the senior from Albany made a nice play, and it's 3rd and 11. Another passing situation for Ithaca. Now Mike Scott comes in motion. Wilkowski to the air, and he's looking for Mike Scott or Ken Hamill as anybody skips it in there at the 35-yard line.
There, Wilkowski was pressured nicely by Cortland State. Didn't have all that much time to throw it, and threw it right into the ground.
So John Fitzgerald on to punt for the 2nd time of the afternoon. Fitzgerald got a nice roll on his first punt that went over 40 yards. Falco will drop to his own 35-yard line. A good snap. The rush is on, and Fitzgerald gets it away. Falco will take it at the 35. Falco hurdles one tackler and dragged under at the 42-yard line. Sean Greeley down there along with Pat Moynihan and number 99, Matt Hatley for Ithaca.
Fitzgerald got off a nice punt, 35 yards under pressure. Cortland State sent about 10 guys in on to block that punt, which allowed Ithaca to get down with good coverage. No one blocking for the return.
A 7-yard return for Falco, who averages about 7 on his punt returns this year. 1st and 10, Cortland from the 42-yard line, trailing 13-0. Gareth Grayson left side, nothing doing.
Stacked up nicely there by Dagan Gray, back in the game after going out earlier with an injury. Him and Rich Smith stacked that play up nicely for a gain of 1.
Dan Feldman also in on the assist. And not much doing there. It's 2nd down and 9. Now Mark Houghton comes to the near side and Jeff Roberto to the far side. It's 2nd down and 9. Grayson the lone setback. Play action pass. Kiefer looks to throw and he skips it in front of the receiver Dave Falco, or make that Jeff Roberto. Dan Feldman on the coverage. And Doug Mahar seeing a lot of playing time for Ithaca in the secondary. As Craig Penson is not able to play too much today because of the injury that he suffered last weekend. Penson has his right knee heavily taped, and he's also wearing a brace along the Ithaca sideline. So it's 3rd down and 9. Kiefer drops back to pass, under pressure, looks for his favorite target, Dave Kelly, and Kelly has it out to about the 49-yard line, dragged out of bounds by Tom Knapp, but it'll be shy of the 1st down, and 4th down upcoming.
A nice play by Tom Knapp, allowing the receiver to catch the ball in front of him, but not allowing him to get the 1st down. A heads-up play by Tom Knapp.
Knapp, the junior out of East Syracuse Manoa High School in Kirkville, New York, his hometown. 4th down and 3, and that's punting time as Jim Carey brought onto the field once more. '82 Scott Van Dyke set to return for Ithaca. There you see Jim Carey. A good snap, not much of a rush. And another good kick by Carey. Van Dyke from the 11. Retreats and finally tripped up. Sean Trappetta once again, the first man down there for Cortland State. And number 36, Trappetta, certainly doing the job for the Cortland State team on special teams.
Yes, but the key thing there is Carey, a 38-yard punt with good hang time, allowing Trappetta to get down and making the tackle.
So Ithaca once again pinned deep in their own territory, this time at the 12-yard line. Bukowski option right side. Mike Scott. Scott to the outside and not able to quite turn the corner out to about the 15-yard line. Only a pickup of 3 yards. Sean Trappetta all over the field along with Stan Patch. Forced Scott out of bounds.
That play worked earlier in the ball game, but the Cortland defensive coordinator has got his line together and learned how to defense that play. Scott there only picking up 3 yards.
Also, Ithaca ran that play to the short side of the field, and Mike Scott not able to utilize all of his speed on that play. Once again, a huge overflow crowd on hand at South Hill Field. It's the East Regional Final between Ithaca and Cortland, and Ithaca leads 13-0. Paul Parker inside handoff, and Parker's across the 20-yard line. Finally stopped by a host of Cortland State defenders led by number 91, Joe Woodard. Also 41, Bob Keith in on the stop. Keith, the leading tackler, with 75 tackles coming into today's game.
But there we see again the Ithaca College offensive line just blowing Cortland State off the ball for a gain of 5 by Parker.
So it's 3rd down and 2 upcoming. Scott Barker will come to the near side. Two tight end formation with Jim Pino and Kevin McCaffrey. Paul Parker, first down and more as he bursts through the line of scrimmage and out to the 28-yard line. Bob Keith makes the tackle, but it's a first down pickup for Ithaca.
That was a big play for the Bombers. They didn't want to have the ball just 3 plays and punt. They wanted to get a first down, get it out of their own end. So if they do have to punt, they'll allow Cortland State not as good as field position.
Clock running inside of 4 minutes to go, first half. Now Mike Scott and Paul Parker in the backfield. First and 10. Option once again. Mike Scott. Another good block by Paul Parker, and Mike Scott tackled at the 30-yard line, maybe the 31. Steve McGowan makes the tackle and a pickup of only 3 yards again. And Mike Scott, after some big early runs, has lately found some trouble going against a very tough Cortland defense.
Yes, Scott today unofficially 9 rushes for 55 yards, but he's been out of the game for 3 series early in the or late in the first quarter, which could have hurt him.
Scott Van Dyke checks into the lineup late. Ken Hamill to the far side on second down and 7. Wilkowski to Paul Parker, and Parker out near the 35-yard line. Tripped up by number 93 for Cortland State. And we have to check our roster for that. Number 93, Joe Amico, the reserve defensive tackle, making the stop. And a pickup of about 4 yards on the play. It'll bring up third down and 4. Big play for Ithaca. Ken Hamill in the slot, and Dwayne Siebold to the far side. Wilkowski will drop back to pass. Wilkowski looking, and pass knocked in the air and then intercepted by Mark Nelson. And Nelson dropped to the turf at the 40-yard line, but a penalty flag on the play.
I believe we're going to have pass interference by Cortland State. I believe Siebold was hit before the pass reached him.
Dennis Kaiser really upset along the far sideline, yelling at the officials as they talk things over, and they may rule incidental contact because the ball was overthrown, or they might say that the ball was tipped first and then Siebold was hit.
The Brain Trust talking it over there. You see the officials. He will get the call.
Wow.
A big call there by the referee.
Pass interference, defense, first down.
A tough call going against Cortland State.
And we have an irate Ithaca or Cortland coaching staff over there. They're just going nuts, yelling and screaming.
Let's see what kind of influence this has on the remaining 2 minutes left in the first half. Wilkowski will hand to Mike Scott left side, and Mike Scott will bounce off one tackler, but not much doing. Stan Patch made the initial contact. Then he was finally tackled by Dave Mancuso. And also some help from Steve McGowan, and a gain of only 1.
They've pretty much stacked up Mike Scott on these last 2 possessions by Ithaca, allowing him to only gain 2 or 3 yards a pop.
Second down and 9. Siebold to the near side, Hamill to the far side. Ithaca going into the sun. And a gorgeous afternoon for football. Wilkowski, a quick drop, and now he'll tuck it under. Wilkowski down to the 45-yard line. He'll be about 2 yards shy of a first down.
An excellent read there by Todd Wilkowski. The coaching staff had called for a quick pass to the wide receiver. Wilkowski saw it was covered, tucked it under his arm, and ran.
Timeout called by Ithaca. Their first. They'll have 2 remaining with 1:12 to go first half. It'll be third down and 2 upcoming. And a lot of big games on tap today for NCAA playoff action. And we'll try to get you up to date on some of the big games going around the country today. In the East region, of course, here we have Cortland State and Ithaca. The winner of today's game goes on to meet the winner of the Moravian-Ferrum College game, which is being played in Ferrum. In the North Division, we have Wittenberg hosting Augustana. And in the West, we have Central of Iowa going up against Wisconsin of Whitewater, that game being played in Wisconsin. So the winner of today's action advances to the Final Four to be played next weekend. And then the finals, the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl in Phoenix City, Alabama, December the 10th. And one of these two teams playing today have that as their highest goal on the season. Cortland State, its best record ever in its existence, 11-0, and Ithaca 10-1. 3rd down and 2, a big play here. Wilkowski option left side, and Wilkowski will keep it and have the first down. Wilkowski down to the 39-yard line.
And we're going to have a late hit put on by the Cortland State Red Dragons. Referee throws the flag after Wilkowski, already down on the play, gets hit.
And that'll be a very costly penalty against Cortland State. And that will carry with it 15 more yards. It might have been number 55, Martin Nelson. We didn't see exactly. But Dennis Kaiser has to be fuming now after the
I have a dead ball, personal foul, defense. It'll be a first down.
Costly penalty, taking the ball down to the Cortland State 23-yard line, putting Ithaca in great position to score here before the end of the half.
1:07 to go first half. The clock stops due to the penalty. Now they restart it. 1:05 left to go first half. Van Dyke to the near side. Hamill and Barker to the far side. 5 men along the line of scrimmage for Cortland, showing blitz. Here they come. Wilkowski gets it away to Van Dyke, and he's knocked out of bounds. A pickup down to the 14-yard line, and that'll be very close to a first down. A nice play by Wilkowski, a quick drop, and then Scott Van Dyke ran an out pattern, his 3rd catch of the afternoon.
Wilkowski now 4 of 7 for 41 yards unofficially. A good day for Todd Wilkowski.
So it's 2nd down and inches to go, just shy of a first down. They need to cross the 14-yard line. Mike Scott goes in motion, and Scott Barker sets up as the tight end. Wilkowski, a quick drop. Looking across the middle, and the ball is nearly intercepted. Tipped by 2 Red Dragons, first Dave Mancuso and then Steve McGowan. Wilkowski under heavy pressure that time, and lucky really to get rid of the ball.
Yes, and after tipped twice by the Cortland State defensive backs, Scott Van Dyke almost came up with a catch there.
So that'll bring up 3rd down and short. The clock stops with the incomplete pass. 45 seconds to play in the first half.
Right here, Ithaca just wants to pick up a first down.
There you see Steve McGowan, who made that fine defensive play a moment ago. Wilkowski will tuck it under, and Wilkowski down to about the 7-yard line as he followed the block by Pat McLaughlin. It's a first down pickup for Ithaca. It'll be 1st and goal with 39 seconds to go, and Wilkowski will utilize his 2nd timeout.
A nice run there by Wilkowski. Instead of pitching the ball, saw a crack in the defensive line, tucked it under his arm, and plunged forward for the first down.
The 47th meeting between these two teams, a series that began in 1930. Ithaca leads 25, or Ithaca has won 25 of the meetings, lost 18, and tied 3, so the Bombers with a 7-game advantage. 39 seconds to go first half, and Ithaca leads this one 13-0.
We have to wonder how much a revenge factor is today for the Ithaca Bombers. The team and the coaching staff was downplaying that, but you just have to wonder if revenge is really on their mind after the loss earlier this year to Cortland State.
One thing I think the Bombers have learned from some of their mistakes, the first game against Cortland State, Cortland dominated offensively, having the ball over 40 minutes, and Ithaca had the ball only about 19 minutes in the game. And it seems so far in the first half that Ithaca has really had the time of possession in their advantage.
Yes, the defense in the first game was on the field a long, long time for the Bombers, and Coach Butterfield didn't even sympathize with them. Said it was their own fault. Today they're making up for it, though, stopping Cortland State with no points here in the first half.
Cortland State with their backs not too far from the end zone. It's 1st and goal at the 9. Wilkowski surveys the situation. Quick drop, and Wilkowski play action pass, looking in the end zone for Van Dyke. Van Dyke catches it, but he's ruled out of bounds. A great effort by Scott Van Dyke. Greg Barrup had the coverage, and Wilkowski's pass forced Van Dyke to take to the air, and his feet could not come down in bounds. College football, they only need 1 foot in bounds, but still, Scott Van Dyke just a hair beyond the end line.
Excellent attempt by Van Dyke, just couldn't get his foot in bounds, but still a great catch.
33 seconds to go, and Ithaca 1 timeout remaining. It's 2nd and goal at the 9. Wilkowski to the air once again. Wilkowski looks for Pat McLaughlin, and it's off his fingertips. Dave Mancuso with a good coverage on Pat McLaughlin, and the Cortland defense has come up big on the first 2 plays.
Yes, nice coverage there by Mancuso. Even if McLaughlin had caught the ball, he would not have gotten in the end zone, maybe not even out of bounds.
So it's 3rd down and 9. Ithaca with 1 timeout left.
We might want to look for a little option play here by Ithaca with 1 timeout remaining.
McLaughlin and Scott in the backfield. 2 wide receivers to the right. And now in motion, Ken Hamill. Wilkowski will go to the air. Wilkowski looking, and now we'll tuck it under. Wilkowski down to the 3-yard line. Clock still running, and now finally the 3rd timeout called by Todd Wilkowski. 20 seconds to go.
Once again, we see Wilkowski trying to go to the air, but no one open, and with time running out before being sacked, we see him tuck it under and go running, trying to get the touchdown.
Wilkowski gained 6 yards down to the 3, and now Ithaca apparently will go for the 3.
Matt Sullivan, who's been Mr. Consistency here today, will try to put 3 more up on the board for the Bombers.
Sullivan is connected on field goals of 44 yards and 25 yards. 2 for 2 on the afternoon, and for the season, Sullivan is 10 out of 17. The Ithaca College Pep Band trying to inspire the crowd this afternoon. They certainly don't need to try too hard. A huge crowd on hand, looking to see the best football in upstate New York and in possibly all of Division III. Scott Barker will hold. The place down will be at the 10-yard line. It'll be just like an extra point, except they'll be off to the far hash mark. The kick is up, and it is good. So Matt Sullivan connects on a 20-yard field goal to give Ithaca a 16-0 lead with 16 seconds to go in the first half.
Yes, and that's a harder kick than it looks for Sullivan. He was way over to the right hash mark, bringing the angle so close, and with being so close to the end zone, not giving him much room to hit the goalpost, but an excellent kick by Matt Sullivan.
So Ithaca with a 16-0 advantage, and now Cortland State, to even tie, would have to score 2 touchdowns and go for 2 two-point conversions.
But still, as much as Ithaca's dominated here, there are only 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions ahead of the Cortland State Red Dragons. As explosive as Cortland State is, that's just a nice half away from them.
There you see the score, 16 seconds to go in the first half. Mike Anderson and Matt Shell set to return at their own 13, 14-yard line. Sullivan, a low line drive kick, and this will be Shell from the 16. Straight ahead, and Shell tackled by Pat Moynihan at the 34-yard line. Eric Miller also in there as well, number 46 for Ithaca. So Cortland State with decent field position, all 3 timeouts, but only 12 seconds to go in the first half.
We'll look for Kiefer to put the ball up long here, trying to get something going, at least get in field goal range for Cortland State.
Bombers secondary will play at least 10 yards off the line of scrimmage. Now 2 linebackers come up short on the Cortland wide receivers. Kiefer back to pass. Now a draw to Gareth Grayson, and Grayson cannot elude the tackle of Rich Smith.
Excellent read by Rich Smith. And there we see Gareth Grayson. That's his 9th rush for only 55 yards today.
Cortland immediately calls timeout with 7 seconds to go. If Grayson had gotten past the grasp of Rich Smith, he probably would have had at least 15, 20 yards in front of him before the nearest tackler.
Yeah, there's a lot of green out there.
But Rich Smith, a fine defensive play, showing why he's an All-American. It's 2nd down and 11. 7 seconds to go in the first half. Cortland will keep it on the ground. Gareth Grayson into the secondary. Grayson still on his feet down to the 33-yard line, but time has expired. 30 minutes are in the history books. The fans on their feet. They liked what they've seen so far, at least on the Ithaca sideline. It's halftime at South Hill Field, and Ithaca leads 16-0. And Jeff, what a first half put on by the Ithaca College Bombers.
Yes, Coach Butterfield and company have got to be ecstatic over the way the Bombers have played this half. They've totally dominated on offense, the offensive line blowing Cortland State off the ball and moving the ball at will.
Cortland State, though, has come up with a couple big plays to keep Ithaca from going for 6 and only getting field goals, though. So 16-0 is the score at halftime, with Ithaca leading Cortland. And you're watching Bombers football 1988 on ICB TV. Well, welcome back to South Hill Field on the campus of Ithaca College. We're set to begin the second half of the game to decide the East Region Championship in the NCAA Division III playoffs. I'm Andy Brussel, joined today by Jeff Swan. We've got 30 minutes set to play in the second half as Ted Nagengast kicks off for Cortland State. It'll bounce and go out of bounds at the 6-yard line, so Nagengast will have to re-kick. Ithaca leads 16-0, and it's a half that the Ithaca offense really shown brightly. The rushing game, 35 carries for 182 yards. And also one of the other key stats in the first half, the time of possession dominated by Ithaca. And we'll take an in-depth look at the stats for the first half after the kickoff.
There we saw Scott Van Dyke with a very risky move, letting that kickoff bounce, hoping it would go out of bounds. Fortunately for him, it did, but if that hadn't, that would have been a loose ball, and Cortland State could have recovered.
And there you see some of the first half stats. Look at the big difference in rushing yards and also passing yards. You wouldn't expect Todd Wilkowski to have much more through the air than Rich Kiefer. And also the penalty yards. Ithaca's made some costly penalties, but Rich Kiefer on the day, 3 out of 7, 1 interception and 18 yards. Also the total offense, big in favor of Ithaca as we begin the second half. And it'll be Van Dyke from the 15-yard line. And Scott Van Dyke with a lot of running room along the sideline. And Van Dyke probably his best return of the year out to the 38-yard line. So that is where the Bomber offense will take over, leading 16-0.
A nice return there by Van Dyke. 30 yards on that return. The best of the day by far for him.
And his top effort of the season. And taking a look at the Bomber offensive set, we'll just go over that quickly for you. Tim Rice and Evan Marcus still are the tackles. Tom Finneran and Pete Burns at the guards. Mark Hudak, the veteran center. Kevin McCaffrey, the tight end. Scott Van Dyke, the split end to the near side. And Scott Barker, the flanker to the far side. It's Parker and Scott behind quarterback Todd Wilkowski. Mike Scott on the left side, nothing doing. Joe Woodard comes up from his outside linebacker spot to make the tackle. Big number 91 for Cortland State. And it's a gain of only about 1.
The Cortland State defense coming out fired up, holding Scott to almost not even quite 1 yard on his first attempt this half.
Ithaca opened up the game by handing the ball to number 33, Mike Scott, for 5 consecutive carries, and that's how they begin the second half with a Mike Scott carry. No gain at 2nd and 10. Wilkowski will run the option. Mike Scott once again, and Mike Scott trying to cut it up, and not much doing there. Joe Grady and Dave Mancuso up from their secondary spots to put the clamps on Mike Scott. And the Cortland defense, Jeff, as you said, fired up, and they want to hold the Bomber defense in check. They give up only 106 yards per game on the ground, and already they've given up 187.
There we see them defensing that option play ran by the Bombers. They did it the last 3 possessions of Ithaca after Ithaca came out and totally dominated them in the first 2 possessions.
Cortland State with 5 men near the line of scrimmage. Now Mike Scott, or make that Doug Albertsman, goes in motion, and Wilkowski will throw to Albertsman. Albertsman makes one move, and Albertsman close to a first down. What a fine individual effort by Doug Albertsman, eluding several tacklers and getting very near a first down pickup.
An excellent play by Albertsman, wide open in the flat area. Wilkowski gets the ball to him. It looks to be just a little short of a first down.
Albertsman stretched out, but will come up about a yard shy of a first down. Where he stretched out, it looked like the ball was far enough for a first down, but the officials ruled that his knee hit first, and so they mark it a yard back. John Fitzgerald on the punt. Dave Falco drops to return at his own 20-yard line. Fitzgerald with 1 punt in the first half, and 1 for 46 yards, and here's another good effort. But it takes a Cortland bounce, and it'll be down at the 21-yard line.
A 30-yard punt there by Fitzgerald. Not a good bounce for the Bombers, but nonetheless, Cortland State starting in average field position about the 22-yard line.
So 12:42 to go. We played just over 2 minutes in the third quarter, and Ithaca leading 16-0. Will go on defense for the first time in the second half. Cortland State on offense. Charles Butler and Tim Berm, the offensive tackles. Chris Lafferty and Tom Schmatt at the guards. And the center is a replacement for James Cook. Still have not figured out who that is. Rich Kiefer, the 5th-year senior quarterback, will pitch back to Eric Love, and Love is to the outside and finally tackled about the 30-yard line. Matt Herbst and Lee Byrne trip him up, but it's a good gain of about 8 yards. Check that, Gareth Grayson on the carry. Grayson the lone setback on that play, and Grayson picks up about 8 yards.
Here comes Cortland State coming out trying to establish the running game, which they did not do to open the game, and here pick up 8 yards on first down.
Cortland did not go to Gareth Grayson until, I believe, their 3rd offensive possession, and they realized that he's an integral part of their offensive attack. Grayson again, one more time, and Grayson, nothing doing this time. Craig Belcher, the first man there for Ithaca, with some help from Dan Feldman, and it's going to be a loss of about 2 yards on the play.
Excellent penetration by the Bomber defensive front. They stack that play up, having Grayson nowhere to go.
A loss of 2. It'll bring up 3rd down and 4 from the 29-yard line. Cortland comes out with Dave Falco to the near side and Greg Sirico to the far side. A quick look-in pattern of Falco, and Falco makes an acrobatic catch as the pass by Kiefer thrown just behind him. Tom Knapp and Matt Herbst combine on the tackle, but a gain of 5 and a first down pickup. And Dave Falco on that play showed why he's the all-time leading receiver for Cortland State with a great catch.
Yes, but only his 2nd catch of the day for 9 yards. The Ithaca secondary has really held him in check today after having a big game last time against the Bombers.
First down and 10. Pitch back, Eric Love. And Love tackled by Dagan Gray, and not much doing there. Good inside-out pursuit from the inside linebacker. The senior Dagan Gray makes the tackle, a gain of only about a yard.
Yes, nice pursuit by the Bomber defense, stringing the play out to the sideline and allowing the pursuit to come and make the tackle.
So it'll be about second down and call it 8. Grayson, the lone setback, and they'll set up with Nick Amodio in the slot. Kiefer calling signals. And it'll be Gareth Grayson. Grayson cuts to the outside and now straight ahead, and Grayson will be close to it, first down. Dan Feldman and Tom Knapp combined on the tackle, and it'll bring up third down and about 1. A nice run by Grayson. He started up the middle, saw nothing there, and went to the outside, and a good pickup.
Yes, the Bomber defense had him stacked up. It just bounces it to the outside where he found some daylight. Nice run there by Grayson.
Third down and short. Ithaca, 5 men along the line of scrimmage. Cortland, Kiefer straight ahead. Matt Herbst greets him, and it'll be close to a first down. It depends on the spot. The officials say first down for Cortland State. So the Red Dragons able to move the ball against the Ithaca defense, and they picked up 2 first downs early in the second half, giving them 7 for the ball game. Ithaca with 13 first downs. Cortland now with 7. Tom Knapp will now play off Dave Falco, but it's a pitch back to Gareth Grayson, and Grayson a big hole on the left side. Grayson cannot elude the tackle. A touchdown saving tackle by Doug Mahar, but a nice run for Gareth Grayson and a gain of about 15 yards. Officially a 17-yard gain, and we've got a Bomber injured, and it's Lee Byrne, the free safety, the junior out of Baldwinsville, New York. And it looks like he's holding his wrist along the far sideline.
Yes, the Bomber defense cannot afford to lose Lee Byrne. We see him being helped off the field here.
He's holding his left wrist, maybe his left hand, and we'll have to see if he comes back in the ball game. It's good to see, though, that he's walking off the field under his own power.
There we had a nice pickup by Grayson. He now has 17 rushes for 123 yards on the day, eating up chunks of yardage against this Bomber defense.
First down and 10, Cortland State at the Ithaca 38-yard line. Mark Houghton now in motion. Kiefer on the rollout, pressure, and Kiefer unloads it to Dave Kelly, and Kelly knocked down by Sean Greeley. A nice tackle by Greeley, and Kelly thought he could get more yardage by going to the outside, but actually lost a couple after making the catch.
A nice play by Rich Kiefer on the rollout there. Had the Ithaca Bomber defense going the other way, rolls out and hits his man for about a 6 or 7 yard gain.
Dave Kelly, his second catch of the afternoon, now 43 on the year. Grayson the lone setback, Nick Amodio in the slot. Straight ahead, Grayson, and another 5-yard pickup near the first down marker at the 28-yard line. It appears from this angle that Grayson has the first down. And that time, Cortland ran straight ahead into the heart of the Ithaca defense, and a good pickup by Grayson. Official timeout for measurement.
Here we see the Red Dragons eating up yardage on the ground. Coming up, it's going to be close here.
Let's take a look at how these two teams got to where they are today. Last weekend, Ithaca traveled to Staten Island and took on Widener College and came away with a 34-31 overtime victory. Mike Scott had his second best day of his career as a Bomber with 149 yards rushing on 23 carries. But it was a Todd Wilkowski 4-yard touchdown pass to Pat McLaughlin on a 4th and 2 play with only seconds remaining that propelled the Bombers in overtime. Now it's a first down for Cortland State. Gareth Grayson outside. Grayson a big hole. Grayson in the secondary and down the sideline to the 12-yard line. Gareth Grayson a 14-yard run down to the 13-yard line actually. But it's another big first down pickup for Cortland State.
Grayson just eating up the Bomber defense here, taking it down to the 13-yard line and The defense has to stiffen up here and hold these Cortland Red Dragons.
Cortland determined to get on the board at the 13-yard line. Fans coming to life. Kiefer, quick drop, and he looks for Falco, and it's incomplete. Joe Williams on the coverage, as Williams is on in place of Lee Byrne.
There we see Tommy Knapp coming up and blitzing Kiefer on the play, leaving his man wide open, covered by the safety there. An excellent read by Rich Kiefer, noticing the open man and trying to go to him. Fortunately for the Bombers, the pass was off.
Lee Byrne still being attended to along the Bomber sideline, seated next to Mike Scott. So now it's 2nd down and 10, Cortland State. Jeff Roberto, receiver to the near side. It's a pitch back, Gareth Grayson. Grayson tries to turn the corner, can't do so. Knocked out of bounds at the 10-yard line by Tom Knapp. A gain of 3, and it'll be 3rd down and 7.
There we see Grayson eluding the tackle of Deegan Gray. Gray shooting the gap and just not being able to hang on.
Grayson now well over 100 yards on the afternoon. Unofficially 20 carries, 151 yards. It's another big game for the senior fullback out of Rochester, New York. Grayson last week, 221 yards, looking to equal that output this afternoon against a very tough Bomber defense. Ithaca shows blitz, 3rd and 7. Here they come, and the officials blow the play dead.
The Bomber side.
And it's going to go against Cortland. A tough break for the Red Dragons. May have used too much time.
That's the way of game. Offense.
And that's what the ruling is. So Cortland, a very costly penalty. That'll move them back to the 15-yard line. They need to get down to about the 3 for a 1st down. So call it 3rd down and about 12.
Bomber defense looking to come up big here.
7:50 to go, 3rd quarter. Kiefer will drop back, and he'll swing it out to Gareth Grayson, and Grayson drops it. They had the screen set up, and Grayson had blockers in front of him, but he took his eye off the ball, and Kiefer cannot believe it.
A nice pass there by Kiefer. Grayson just can't come up with a nice ball thrown by Kiefer. 3 blockers in front, as you mentioned. Grayson had a lot of room to run.
The Cortland fans standing in disbelief. They can't believe Grayson dropped that one. So Ted Nagengast on to try a field goal. The place down will be at the 23-yard line. A 33-yard attempt for Ted Nagengast. The kick is up. No good. Wide to the right. And the fans applaud the defense.
There we see once again the kick being made from the far right hash mark, giving it a little extra distance and a little less of an angle for the kicker. And he just couldn't put it through.
Nagengast just misses to the right. Nagengast now 12 out of 19 on the year in the field goal department. Counterplay, Paul Parker straight ahead, and Parker across the 25-yard line to about the 26. Pickup of about 5 yards.
Parker on the day, 12 rushes for 56 yards unofficially, but had a nice hole there, allowing him to pick up 6 yards.
A gain of 6, call it 2nd and 4. Option left, will pitch back to Mike Scott, it goes over his head. Cortland apparently will have the ball, but there's penalty flags on the ground. They were thrown, though, after the ball was loose on the turf. Mark Nelson comes up with it for Cortland State.
I think the penalty's on McCaffrey, the Bomber tight end, for holding, going after that fumble. We'll wait and see. Let the ref tell us.
And that is the indication. A penalty against Ithaca. Cortland declines it, and it's Red Dragon ball inside the 20-yard line. And what a big turn of events here at South Hill Field. The first Bomber miscue of the afternoon is a costly one.
Maybe not a good decision there by Todd Wilkowski to pitch that ball. Maybe he should have ate it and just tucked it under his arm and get what he could get.
So Cortland State hoping to capitalize on a big break. It's 1st and 10 at the 18-yard line. Grayson, big hole up the middle, and Grayson finally tripped up by Joe Williams and Rich Smith. A good gain, though, down to near the 10-yard line. They'll mark it at the just inside the 12-yard line, a gain of 6.
Here we see Cortland State keeping the ball on the ground again, trying to run it right into the end zone against this Bomber defense.
Grayson with his tough inside running. It's been effective against Ithaca all afternoon. Pitch back, Grayson. He'll cut it back in near a first down. Craig Belcher and Rich Smith combine on the tackle with some help from Doug Mahar and Dan Feldman.
Close to the first down, looks as though he has it. And they give him the first down, moving the chains to be a 1st and goal from the Bomber 7-yard line.
The Red Dragons, who last week defeated Hofstra 32-27 in Cortland to advance to today's East Regional game. The East Region Championship at South Hill Field in Ithaca. Red Dragons looking to get on the board. Grayson once again, and Grayson stacked up. Rich Smith and Matt Herbst combined to stop Grayson after a pickup of only about 1. So good defense on that play as Grayson only able to get down to the 6-yard line.
Again, good penetration by the Bomber defensive front, allowing Grayson nowhere to run.
The Cortland faithful on their feet. They want 6. 2nd and goal just outside the 5. Pitch back, Grayson looking to get to the outside. Grayson close to the end zone. Knocked out of bounds just shy of the goal line. Joe Williams finally knocks him out. It'll be 3rd down and goal from the 1. Matt Hatley comes on to bolster the defensive line for Ithaca, and Joe Williams will check out. Bombers will put just about everybody up on the line of scrimmage. 3rd down and goal from the 1. A big play here.
We'll look for Grayson here.
And Cortland commits a costly turnover, or not turnover, excuse me, a costly mistake. As it appears one of the offensive linemen jumped the gun.
It looked from here, number 68 jumps the gun. That's Tom Schmidt.
It was either Schmidt or Donahue, excuse me, the right tackle, number 65, one of those two. Very upset with himself. So it's 3rd down with the ball just outside the 5-yard line. Mark Houghton now in motion. Kiefer drops back, looking in the end zone for Houghton. Touchdown, Cortland State! Houghton, a juggling touchdown reception of 6 yards, and it's now Cortland State on the board. 16-6, and Cortland will not go for 2, but instead have Ted Nagengas to come on to try the point after.
Why Cortland State is only going for 1 here is beyond me, Andy. 1 point seems to do no good.
Nagengas extra point is up, and it is through the uprights. So the clock stopped. 5:01 to play 3rd quarter. Cortland State is on the board, and now they trail 16-7. And it was Mark Houghton who caught the game-winning touchdown against Ithaca back on November 5th. An acrobatic catch over the head of Tom Knapp, the Ithaca defender, that propelled Cortland State onto a 21-20 victory.
There seemed to be a mix-up in the Bomber defensive coverage on that, as Williams was a good 5 yards behind the receiver, leaving him wide open for the touchdown catch.
Joe Williams was in there because Lee Byrne was hurt, an injury to his left shoulder, and Byrne still being attended to along the Bombers sideline, and we'll have to check and see if he's back there on the next time the Ithaca defense is on the field. So with 5:01 to go third quarter, Cortland State has cut the Ithaca lead to 9 points, 16-7. Nightingale set to kick off. It'll be Scott Van Dyke and Doug Albertsman to return. This will be Van Dyke from the 8-yard line. Van Dyke has trouble with a handle, and now he'll turn it up the sideline out to about the 27, maybe the 28-yard line.
Still another good return by Scott Van Dyke after bobbling the ball. Picks it up, keeps his wits about him, and still returns it out to the 38-yard or 28-yard line, excuse me.
A huge crowd on hand at South Hill Field. Andy Brussel and Jeff Swan to provide you with all the action of today's game on ICB TV. Wilkowski will hand it up to Pat McLaughlin straight ahead. McLaughlin plows forward for about 5.
Here we see McLaughlin in the game again for Mike Scott. We see Scott down on the bench with his shoe off and ice being applied to his ankle. Doesn't look good for Mike Scott, but Pat McLaughlin can come in and do a good job for the Bomber offense.
A gain of 5. It'll be second down and 5. Ken Hamill, receiver to the near side. This will be Paul Parker. Parker close to a first down, but pushed back after a gain of about 4. Out to about the 37-yard line. At the bottom of the pile for the Red Dragons, Sean Trapetta.
Good surge there by the Bomber offensive line and Paul Parker. It's going to be about inches short, it seems to be.
And the officials will call timeout for a measurement. Blaine Morehouse also in on that last tackle.
Here the Bombers got to look to get something going here. Get a couple first downs and take control of this game again. The Cortland State Red Dragons have the momentum now after scoring that touchdown. The Bombers have to look to get it back. As we see, this is just inches short.
So it'll bring up third down and very short as Jim Pino brings the next play in. Jim Pino, if you haven't seen his jersey, his number 86 is well worn. Looks like a candidate for the All-Madden team. Third down and short, Cortland State. 8-man straight ahead, and it's Wilkowski on the keeper. Wilkowski very close, and it appears from where the officials are spotting it, it'll be a first down. Jim Taylor led the Cortland pursuit. Stan Patch also at the bottom of the pile, and it will be a first down, Ithaca.
Nice surge there by Wilkowski, just got the ball, went right over his center, Mark Hudak, for the first down.
Gain of 1, first and 10, Ithaca from their own 39-yard line, leading 16-7 with 3:45 to play in the third quarter. Wilkowski to Paul Parker. Parker cannot break the tackle at the line of scrimmage. The ball is on the turf, but the officials will say that Parker's knee touched the turf first, and they'll give Parker a gain of 3 out to the 42-yard line.
Parker there just couldn't shake the tackler, draped around his ankles, plunging ahead for 3 yards. But if he could have shaken that defender, it could have been a long gain there, Andy.
Unofficially, Parker 14 carries for 63 yards. Second down and 7. Barker to the near side and Van Dyke to the far side. Wilkowski, play action pass. Wilkowski rolling out and will tuck it under. And Wilkowski will get to about the 47-yard line. Penalty flags all over the far sideline. And that is in the area where Scott Van Dyke was trying to hold off Joe Grady.
The Cortland defensive backs think it's going to go against Van Dyke, but let's wait and find out. And yes, it's going to.
So another penalty for the Bombers, which will march them back 10 yards. A beautiful day for football in the central southern tier of New York State. The sun has gone under the clouds for a moment, but has been with us just about the entire afternoon.
Holding offense.
So that'll bring up second down and about 15 yards for Ithaca. Mike Scott now comes back into the Bomber lineup, and Pat McLaughlin will come out. Van Dyke and Barker to the near side with Barker in the slot. Wilkowski looking and has his pass batted down by Steve Woodard, number 91, who got his big paws up in the air, and the junior from Rochester, New York, comes away with a big defensive play.
Yes, good penetration by Woodard on the play. Wilkowski tries to throw the out pattern to Scott Van Dyke, as he's done throughout the game, but just blocked by Woodard.
Bomber passing game has gone short the whole afternoon. Now they're going to have to go long. It's 3rd and 15. And the officials stop play momentarily. And let's check to see what the delay is all about. The clock shows 2:45 to go, third quarter. Ithaca 16 and Cortland State 7.
Officials trying to sort it out here. Talking to both benches.
Dennis Kaiser now being explained what the ruckus was all about along the far sideline. And it apparently will be the 25-second clock not working. And now they finally have it fixed. And still they don't have things sorted out quite right. Now they start the clock and we're ready to go. 3rd down and 15 upcoming for Ithaca. Scott and Parker in the backfield. Barker and Van Dyke line up near side. Now Scott goes in motion. Wilkowski to throw, looking long, and it's well over the head of Scott Van Dyke, and a penalty flag is thrown.
Yes, it looks like we're going to have pass interference on the Cortland State defense, but the ball well overthrown, so he just might pick up that flag.
That pass was certainly not catchable at all.
Wilkowski did have Scott Van Dyke open, however.
And apparently they will wave the flag and say the pass was uncatchable.
There is no penalty for pass interference. It was uncatchable pass. Foot down.
And so the referees finally come to agreement that the pass was uncatchable, and it's punting time once again for Ithaca. John Fitzgerald standing at his own 20, awaiting the snap from Mark Hudak. Dave Falco set to return at his own 30. High snap, and Fitzgerald barely gets the kickoff. It'll take an Ithaca bounce and roll down to the 29-yard line.
A good effort there by Fitzgerald to get this punt off. 3 guys draped all over him, just punts it in between the 3 guys and gets it down inside the 30-yard line.
So Fitzgerald benefits from the roll, and Cortland State now 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line, leading 16-7. Greg Sirico line up to the near side. Falco to the far side. Pitch back, Gareth Grayson, left side. Grayson, another big hole, and Grayson is near the first down marker. Joe Williams finally knocks down Grayson, but a nice pickup on first down for the Red Dragons.
The Bomber defense has to do something here to stop Cortland State. Cortland State has the momentum now, looking to drive and get more points on the board here.
Bomber defense without two starters in the defensive backfield. Doug Mahar, number 41, is playing in place of the injured Craig Penson, and Lee Byrne went out with an injury in the third quarter, and he's been replaced by Joe Williams. Second down and 1. Play action pass. Kiefer will throw. Looking long for Sirico. Sirico with a diving catch. What a catch by Greg Sirico. Down to the 29-yard line.
A beautiful catch there by Sirico. Lays out and grabs it on his fingertips. That was a 30-yard pass from Kiefer. By far the longest of the day.
Officially 32 yards on the grab. And what a catch by Greg Sirico, who in the last game against Ithaca caught a 73-yard bomb. 1:30 to play, third quarter, and Cortland State has a new spark. It's 1st and 10 inside the Ithaca 30. Jeff Roberto line up to the near side. Pitch back, Grayson left side. And Grayson about 4 yards before being tackled by Dan Feldman. And some help from Craig Belcher.
The Ithaca College defense greatly missing Lee Byrne, who I see down on the sidelines with his shoulder pads off and jacket on. Doesn't look like he'll be back today, so Joe Williams is the man for the Bomber secondary.
Gain of 4, it's 2nd and 6. Mark Houghton to the near side, Sirico far side. Kiefer straight ahead, Grayson, and not much doing that time. Craig Belcher and Rich Smith closed the hole quickly with some help from Dagan Gray.
It looked like Rich Kiefer saw something in the Bomber defense, checked off the line of scrimmage, but that play did not work, however. The Bombers stacked him up for a gain of 1.
It'll bring up 3rd down and a long 4 yards. Clock moving, now showing 10 seconds, third quarter. They may not get this play off. 3 seconds, and Kiefer hands off to Grayson. Grayson will have the first down inside the 20, down to the 19-yard line. Dagan Gray trips him up, and that is the end of the third quarter. So 45 minutes are in the books, 15 left to play. Who will advance to the Final Four? We'll find out next. Stay with us on ICB TV. Set to begin quarter number 4 to decide the East Regional Final. Cortland State, 1st and 10. Touchdown, Cortland State. Penalty flag down. It'll be pass interference against Ithaca. And Greg Sirico comes up with a big catch for the Red Dragons. The Cortland crowd has come to life. The penalty will be against Ithaca. Pass interference against Doug Mahar. Doesn't matter. It's Cortland State with its second touchdown of the second half.
Mahar beaten cleanly on the play. All he would have had to do was turn around, and he had a shot at the interception, but did not, and Cortland State comes up with a big play.
Ted Nagengast on to try the extra point as the sun is returned to South Hill. Nagengast awaiting the kick. It is up and it is good. So with only 4 seconds elapsed in the fourth quarter, Cortland State has drawn to within 2, 16-14.
This game starting to look like the game played a few weeks ago in Cortland State, with the Red Dragons controlling the ball and the line of scrimmage, driving at will against the Bomber defense. a definite change from the first half where the Bombers were controlling the ball.
The first half was all Ithaca. The second half has been all Red Dragons. 16-14. Coach Jim Butterfield holds a meeting with his troops, trying to fire them up. The Bombers have been listless here in the second half.
The Red Dragon quarterback Rich Kiefer coming on in the second half is 8 of 14 for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns unofficially after a mediocre first half for him, coming on in the second half and performing greatly.
Coach Butterfield nearly 10 yards onto the field telling his troops to let's go. There you see Nagengast, the ever so capable sophomore kicker. Scott Van Dyke and Doug Albertsman set to return, standing at the goal line. And now we're set to go, and Nagengast. A low line drive. It'll be Albertsman from the 5. Albertsman straight ahead and knocked down at the 17-yard line.
Cortland State playing with a lot of emotion here now. Fans going wild in appreciation, and the Cortland State Red Dragons are fired up.
Matt Leone down to make the tackle for Cortland State. And Ithaca will have 1st and 10 at their own 17-yard line. The Bombers benefited from great field position early on in the game, and second half they have not had the field position, and Cortland has, and it's been all Cortland. Wilkowski, Pat McLaughlin, inside, McLaughlin maybe to the 20. Joe Grady makes the stop with some help from Steve Woodard. And Rick Stouse, Bob Keith also in there as well, as the Red Dragons are gang tackling.
Here we see for the first time today Mike Scott and Pat McLaughlin in the backfield at the same time. McLaughlin as the fullback and Scott as the halfback. McLaughlin gets the call on that play for a gain of 1, maybe 2.
2nd down and 8. Wilkowski will go to the air, a quick out pattern, too high for Scott Van Dyke. And that'll bring up 3rd down and long. And the Bomber offense does not feel too comfortable when faced with 3rd down and long or 2nd down and long type situations. They like to have those 3rd and short so they can run the ball rather than the 3rd and long where they have to put the ball in the air. Third down and 8. Big play here. Barker in motion. Wilkowski being pressured. Now will roll out. Wilkowski throws in and out of the hands of Scott Van Dyke. Broken up by Joe Grady. And the Cortland State defense has done the job once again.
Yes, but that all starts on 1st down. When the Bombers do not get their required 3 or 4 yards, it sets up a passing situation, which the Bombers have not done well this year.
14 minutes left to play. Fitzgerald will punt, and Dave Falco set to return, standing at the Bomber 49-yard line. Cortland should get great field position. The rush is on, and Fitzgerald gets it away. And it'll take a big bounce, but it'll be taken by Falco on the run at the 45. Knocked out of bounds by Sean Greeley at the Ithaca 47-yard line. So Cortland State with exceptional field position, trailing by just 2.
A nice punt there by Fitzgerald of 35 yards, but taken on the bounce and returned upfield. The Bomber punt coverage wasn't as good as it has been earlier in the game, giving Cortland State great field position.
Quarterback Rich Kiefer has rallied his troops here in the second half. The 5th-year senior with loads of experience. Pitch back, Gareth Grayson. Grayson only about 3 yards before Tom Knapp and Ralph Jones can corral him. And it'll bring up 2nd down at about 7.
A nice play there by Tom Knapp, fighting off the block of the wide receiver and getting into making the tackle on Gareth Grayson. The Bomber defense is going to have to come up big here and try to switch some of the momentum that's gone Cortland State's way. Gareth Grayson now 32 rushes, 189 yards.
It's 2nd down and 7. Mark Houghton to the near side. Kiefer, a quick look to Dave Kelly, and Kelly is popped by Sean Greeley, but a nice catch by the tight end. The senior tight end out of Camden, New York, catches it, and it's a 1st down for the Red Dragons.
Nice quick slant there by the Red Dragons, perfectly thrown by Kiefer for an 11-yard gain and another Cortland State 1st down.
Sirico now to the near side, and Dave Falco will go to the far side as Eric Love sets up in the slot. Kiefer audibilizing. Grayson straight ahead, and Grayson maybe a yard. Dagan Gray and Dan Feldman combine on the stop. And Grayson might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage or gained a yard, and that's about it.
There we see another audible by Kiefer, audibilizing to a running play, in which again was stopped by the Bomber defense.
2nd down and 9 upcoming. Clock continues to move. Inside 12.5 minutes to play in the game. I formation, Love the tailback. Jeff Roberto to the near side, play action pass. Kiefer looking long, Kiefer throwing, and the pass is caught by Dave Kelly at the 10-yard line. A 22-yard gain to Dave Kelly, and Cortland State once again knocking on the door.
An excellent pass there by Kiefer. Bombers in a zone defense, hits the wide receiver right in front of Tom Knapp in the deep zone and over the linebackers. A nice touch pass by Rich Kiefer.
Kiefer is thrown for more than 2,200 yards on the year, completing 55% of his passes. It's 1st and goal, Cortland. Grayson left side, not much there, maybe a yard to the 9-yard line. Rich Smith and Craig Belcher make the stop, and it'll be 2nd down and goal for the Red Dragons. And this game nearly as exciting as the one played in Cortland 3 weeks ago. That game a little bit more of a back and forth type game, where this one it was all Ithaca 1st half, all Cortland 2nd half. Red Dragons with the momentum and the ball at the 9-yard line. 2nd down and goal. Kiefer to Grayson, and Grayson to the outside. He can't get there. Matt Herbst comes from behind and drags Grayson down.
Nice effort there by Herbst. Gets into the backfield, chases down Grayson, and makes the tackle. Excellent play.
A yard gained for Grayson. Matt Herbst with excellent inside-out pursuit. Third down and goal. Ball at the 8-yard line. It's Falco to the near side. Sirico far side. I backfield. Grayson left side, and Grayson stopped at the 9-yard line. John Howard, 54, makes the tackle for the Bombers, and it's time for Ted Nagengast to try to come on and put Cortland in the lead.
I think that was a case right there where the Cortland State Red Dragons playing for the field goal, running Grayson just to get the ball into the middle of the field, so they have a better angle at the field goal right here.
Good point, Jeff. It will be placed down at the 16-yard line. A 26-yard attempt for Nagengast. The kick is up, and it is good. Cortland State has taken the lead. 17-16, 10:28 left to go in the game. And what an effort by Cortland State here in the 2nd half. 17 unanswered points.
Just amazing, the turnaround that has happened here in the 2nd half. The Bomber defense has not been able to stop Cortland State, allowing them to drive at will. Even the addition of Craig Penson, who came in on that drive, could not help the Bomber defense as they allowed Cortland State to drive down and kick that field goal.
The Red Dragons' first lead of the afternoon. It's at 17-16. The Bombers haven't been behind too many times this year. And now they're going to have to come from behind. One time they were behind, though, was last week at Wagner, down 31-24 with Wagner having possession of the ball and only 3 minutes left when Matt Herbst intercepted a pass. And then the Bombers drove for a game-tying touchdown late in the game to force overtime, where they came away with a victory.